Hey everyone, for as long as I can remember, I've been dreaming about what might be out there that we'll never get to see. Fortunately, we have Photoshop to make our dreams come true. If you haven't seen this written tutorial on iceflowstudios.com, this video will go through the process of creating stars, planets, and glows. Oh my, let's start off with the stars. Creating the basic star field for your scene is actually quite simple. By creating a custom brush, we can create a nice star field within minutes. Making sure you're working with a new layer, grab your brush tool from the tools bar. Now, to customize our brush, we need to open our brush panel. If yours is not already open, activate it by going up to the window menu and then down to brush. We're looking to create a nice, tiny, scattering brush. Starting the brush tip shape section, set your brush nice and small, around 3 pixels. And then down under spacing, crank it up to around 260%. Moving over to shape dynamics, turn the size jitter up to 100%. This will allow our brush to paint many different size stars once we start brushing. Next, under scattering, turn on both axes and set the scatter at 1000% with a count of 1. This will move away from a boring straight line of stars. And finally, let's turn on transfer. Turn the opacity and flow jitter up to 100% to give us stars with different brightnesses. Our star brush is complete, nice and simple. If you think you might use this brush later on, you can save it by selecting New Brush Preset under the drop-down menu at the top right corner of your brush panel. Now, all you have to do is brush. Because we use shape dynamics, scattering, and transfer to our advantage, as we brush on our canvas, all of the stars are being randomly generated, so there won't be any repetitive patterns going on. I'm simply brushing in circles to fill up as much or as little of the document until I get the amount of stars that I'm looking for. Now keep in mind that we're not looking for an extravagant star field. We want something basic that won't distract us from the other elements which we're about to create. Let's move on and create our large planet. This part is a little bit tricky, so make sure to follow along closely. Go ahead and grab your ellipse tool from the tools bar, and we want to draw out a massive circle. You might want to zoom out a little bit so you have enough room to place this circle. You want to end up with only a portion of it poking out from the bottom of your canvas. Once it's in place, change the color of the shape to black by double-clicking on the color box in the Layers panel and choosing Appear Black. Now we need to add a few layer styles. Let's start with an inner glow. Start by setting the blend mode to this glow to linear dodge, and then for the color, use a nice baby blue. I'm going to use C2E7FF. Down below, change the size to 20, and then the range to 60. Next will be an outer glow. Once again, set the blend mode to linear dodge, and the color is going to be a slightly darker blue. 59B3FF. Now set the size at 10. And finally, an inner shadow. Blend mode again is linear dodge, and the color will be 3599FF. Go ahead and turn off global light and set the angle at 90 degrees, the distance at 10, and the size at 70. Now that the layer styles are complete, we need to bring in a texture. Doing a search for planet texture on DeviantArt, you'll find many textures which you can use for your personal projects, like this one here. When you have your texture open in Photoshop, drag it onto your document and place it on top of your planet. At the moment, the texture is too flat. In order to create a curved illusion, we're going to apply a filter to the texture, but before we do that, we need to define our sphere. With your Command or Control key held down, click on your Planet Layers thumbnail to turn it into a selection. When the planet is selected, head up to the Filter menu, down to Distort, and then Spherize. Make sure your amount is set to 100% and press OK. Your texture should now have a spherical look to it inside of the selected area. With the selection still active, add a layer mask to the texture by clicking on the Add Layer Mask button at the bottom of your Layers panel. This will hide everything outside of the selection, leaving you with only the rounded area. That looks good, but it's not very convincing. There are a few things we can do to help drive this effect home. First, in your Layers panel, change the blend mode of the texture layer to Overlay, with an opacity of 70%. Now if you're happy with just the edge of the planet visible, you can skip this next step. We're going to add a little bit more visibility to the middle of the planet. Right above your planet layer, add another new layer. When that new layer is added, turn your planet into a selection once again by Command or Control clicking on its thumbnail, grab your brush tool and select a nice large soft brush. Set the color of this brush to a nice baby blue, AEDOFF. Now, add a spot towards the top of your planet. This will interact with your texture's overlay blend mode to reveal that new area. It's getting there, but it needs more glow. In your Layers panel, make a duplicate of the planet layer, and then clear its layer styles by right-clicking the duplicated layer and choosing Clear Layer Styles. When the layer is all clear, we want to add a simple outer glow. Linear dodge for the blend mode, 100% for the opacity, the color will be set to 4198 FF, the size 155, and the range 60. Once the glow is in place, enter free transform mode and horizontally squeeze the planet inwards. This will taper the glow, leaving the middle slightly thicker. Make sure to hold your Alt or Option key while dragging either side to transform it from the center. 2 more glows to go, hang in there. Go ahead and create a new layer below all the planet layers. With a soft brush around 200 pixels or so, add a white spot at the top of the planet. As long as you place this new layer below the planets, their layer style should complement this new spot quite well. Now to finish up this glow on another new layer, use a soft 7 pixel brush to create a single horizontal line which should be only slightly longer than the spot that we just created. Once that line is created, we need to taper the edges. Head up to the filter menu, down to blur, and then choose motion blur. When the motion blur window comes up, set the angle at 0 and the distance at 500 pixels. Once the blur is applied, place the new light streak into place to finish the glow. Our scene is coming along well, however the pitch black star field could use some variation. Let's create some clouds. In your Layers panel, create another new layer right above your stars layer. On this layer, we're going to use the clouds filter, but first we need to set some color. For the foreground color, we're going to use a medium blue, 3E78CF. And for the background color, it's going to be pitch black. When your colors are set, add your clouds filter by going up to the filter menu, down to render, and then choose clouds. Now in order for our scene to not get overwhelmed by blue clouds, we want to pull in some additional dark tones. To accomplish this, add a levels adjustment to your clouds layer, and pull the midtone slider slightly to the right, around 0.7. At this point we have one clouds layer, but we want two. One to interact with the stars, and one to act as clouds. In your Layers panel, duplicate your current clouds layer so you're left with 2 identical layers. Now on the bottom layer, change your blend mode to soft light. On the top layer, keep the blend mode at normal, but drop the opacity to 25%. Things are looking good, but the scene is still a little bit bland. Let's add one more additional planet. Go ahead once again and grab your ellipse tool from the tools bar and draw out a black circle at the top right corner of your document. When that circle is created, make a duplicate of that layer. You should now have 2 identical dark circles. On the top circle, we're going to use the same layer styles that we used for the large planet. In your Layers panel, right-click on the large planet's layer, choose Copy Layer Style, and then right-click on the new circle and paste the layer style. Now just like we did for the large planet, we need to give this planet texture. I'm going to use this texture, which I also found on DeviantArt. Bring this texture into your document and place it on top of your small planet. Now we want to follow the same steps we did with the large planet. First, turn your circle into a selection, and then head up to the filter menu, down to Distort, Spherize with a value of 100%, apply a layer mask to hide the leftover bits, and then change the blend mode of the texture layer to Overlay. Now we need to mask the top right side of the planet in order to give an eclipse effect. In your Layers panel, select both the texture layer and the top circle. You can do this by selecting one of the 2 layers, and then with your Command or Control key held down, click on a blank area of the second layer. Once both layers are selected, we need to place them in a group. At the bottom of your Layers panel, with your Shift key held down, click on the Create New Group icon. This will place the selected layers inside a new group. Once they are grouped, apply a layer mask to that group. Now with a soft black brush around 400 pixels or so, click a few times at the top right corner of the small planet. This will hide the texture and the layer styles, revealing the second black circle below. With the same method, you can create as many planets as you like to fill up the remaining areas. And that's that. Try it out yourself and post your results on our Facebook page over at facebook.com/iceflowstudios. And don't forget to check out iceflowstudios.com for more Photoshop tutorials. Take care.